All right. Shalom to the elect of Israel. First, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Waha, Raka Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. All right. I just come in with a video here. I want to read from this article from the BBC News. All right. That's come out the 24th of March, 2023. Okay, a bit of news here, and it says memorial for victims of slave trade to be erected in Docklands. It says the memorial will be built at West India Quay in London, Docklands. Okay, now if you check up basically the history, right? London, has a heavy history and involvement in the slave trade. Okay, the transatlantic slave trade, and they have a dark, bloody history with that. Okay, particularly the Docklands. You got other parts, of the UK as well. But yeah, they were heavily involved in the transatlantic slave trade, man, and benefited from all the evils that happened. And they know this, man. So this is interesting. Now they've got this article, and that they're planning, this memorial. Okay, now it says a memorial for the victims of the transatlantic slave trade is to be erected in East London. Sadiq Khan has committed £500,000 to develop the memorial in West India Quay in London Docklands to recognise the city's role in the trade itself. The site has a history closely linked with the slave trade. Historian and presenter Professor David Olusoga said the memorial would help Londoners better remember the victims of slavery in the slave trade. Okay, so they've actually had statues that they've removed as well. And this is a trend. This is a thing that you see continuing to happen, because they can't run away from this dark past, this dark history, and the evil that they did, okay, unto the Lord's people, okay, because the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are actually the Israelites, according to Bible prophecy, the ones that went through this oppression and through this slavery and through this suffering. All right, through prophecy are the Lord's chosen people. All right, and this history, this is not going to be forgotten. Okay. It says, Mr. Khan said it was important that public spaces reflect the heritage of London. We do not have a dedicated memorial in our capital to honor the millions of enslaved people who suffered and died as a result of this barbaric practice. This memorial will help commemorate the victims of a dark yet formative chapter of our history. It is accompanied by a number of satellite sites around London to tell the stories of slavery across the capital. Okay, and this is an image here you can see. All right, it says the Canal and River Trust previously removed a statue of slaveholder Robert Milligan from West India Quarry. Yeah, so they're taking down a lot of these statues. They've taken down a lot of these statues already. Because really what you find is a lot of the landmarks, a lot of the infrastructure is all mostly been built around this dark history, around the slavery and around the benefits that they got. So now, that being the case, they've noticed all the reports and complaints, and petitions being done to remove these things. But really, it's always going to be around. There's always going to be that stain. It's always going to be that dark past that's going to be coming up. Okay, because really what they're going to find out is that they touched the chosen people of the Lord, and they're going to have to pay. All right. It says West India, it says it is also where the Museum of London Docklands is based, which has a London sugar and slavery gallery, which is an exhibition dedicated to the city's involvement in slavery. In 2020, a statue of noted slaveholder Robert Milligan was removed by the Canal and River Trust from outside the museum. Okay, so we know as well that that Britain, England, the UK benefited majorly with the sugar plantations, okay, which they had a lot of the so-called West Indians, all right, who are, has a big population or basically populate a lot, has a big community, that come over to the UK, man, right, which is of the tribe of Benjamin, right, of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, so this is just interesting that they've been speaking about this, and that this is what they've got planned, and really they can't get away from this history, man. Which this is what this shows me. Okay, when you go into this article, this is what it really shows, man. All right, that this is really gonna be not forgotten. So I want to get some scriptures. All right, the first scripture I want to get, basically showing you the judgment that is to come. Okay, and that's the reason why this is not going to be forgotten. A lot of times people say that's in the past, forget about it, move on. Well, that's not according to the scriptures. Okay, because there is a divine judgment for those that put the Lord's people in slavery. Okay, this is Revelations 13:9 and 10. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, and he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. All right, so that shows you that it doesn't matter what anybody has anyone's opinions. You know, the fact of the matter is that the people that put the Lord's people in slavery have to go in slavery. All right, that's what captivity is. When you're kidnapped, you're captured, and you're made to work for no wages, like what happened to our people on them sugar plantations, on those cotton plantations that our people worked for no wages, and everything that we done, our labors, the other nations, mainly Esau, the so-called white man, benefited from. Okay, and he has to pay for that. Okay, all the bloodshed that he has done, building up his nation, building up everything that he's got through our blood, sweat, and tears, that has to go and be answered for. Okay, because right until this day, we're still suffering the effects. We're still at the bottom, and all our work, we have nothing to show for it. Okay, that's why it says here is the patience and faith of the saints. Because in the last days, you have the Lord's people that are still waiting for justice, still waiting for redemption, and for our enemies to go down into slavery too. That's what's going to happen when the Lord returns. That's what he's coming to do, to put them in slavery. Okay, because if you leave it up to them, these Edomites think that there's no nothing wrong with what's happened. That's what the scriptures tell you, that they've benefited from this, but they don't think that they have to pay. Right, this is Zechariah 11:5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. So who are the possessors that slay them? That's these Edomites. All right, they slayed us, shed our blood, while we was in chains, in captivity, working, and even still to this day, that's not stopped. Okay, they always, you see the news coming up all the time, and the police killings. You see the news, our people, Israelite man will be in a wrong town at the wrong time, and he's swinging from a tree mysteriously, or he goes, that's basically how these Edomites get down, man. They're still bloodthirsty, and they've benefited from all of these, years, all right, 400 years plus of our labor, but still think that they don't have to pay for that. All right, everything that they have today is because of all the wickedness they've done in slavery. So when the Lord comes back, they're gonna have to pay. All right, and you know what? They can't hide from it, because it's all a part of their history. It's all in their buildings, their infrastructure, all in their literature. Everything points to them being guilty, man. All right, this is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 16. It says, thou art filled with shame for glory. drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. Yeah, so these Edomites, they're now being ashamed because all of that history is there to see. All right, the lynchings, the bloodshed, the the capturing of men, women, and children, enslaving them on plantations and putting them on cargo slave ships, feeding them to overboard to sharks and babies to alligators and crocodiles. Okay, that history is all there, man, especially in America. But England, the UK is not guilt free either. They were heavily involved in that. All right. That's why it was the transatlantic slave trade, all right? Because our people was being captured and sold from Europe, from the from Africa to the Americas. That triangular slave trade, okay, and Britain, England being pretty much heavily at the forefront of that as well. All right, to the point where you had slaves coming in the ports of England. All over the UK, you had our people being sold and enslaved and being oppressed here, right in this land here, man. And that history is there to see. All right, even in Wembley Stadium, right, which is in London, right, one of the capital like landmarks, Wembley Stadium, right, where they got all that happening. You had slaves being sold right where that is today. All right, so there's all this dark history and all this stuff that condemns what they call Great Britain, man, which ain't nothing great about it, man. All right, they ain't so righteous. No, they're wicked, man, and they're condemned. They're gonna be judged. Okay, so they're all being exposed. Right now, it says, "The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." So that's shameful spewing. Okay, because whereas they will like to think of themselves as being righteous, well, it's being seen. Hang on a minute, you actually are wicked. All right, you actually have a lot of evil that you've done. All right, how you treated the men, women, and children, of the Lord's people in slavery, selling them and separating families, shedding their blood, lying upon them, putting that false image and propaganda out there. All right. So really, you are wicked, man. And that's all we've seen. And you're gonna have to pay for all of that because we're still found captives. Okay, no matter how much you wanna look at it, still to this day. All right. So this is Exodus chapter 21:16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. So what's gonna happen to you, Edomites, when the Lord returns, is you're gonna receive judgment for all the wickedness that you've done, because we're still found in your hands. All right, we're still in your system, we're still oppressed, we still have nothing to show for our hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. And the Lord knows that. So what's going to happen to you, Edomites, is you're going to get that judgment, man. You're going to receive what we got, but even worse. All right, and all the nations that are involved, man. All right, all you nations, really, you're going to find that we are the Lord's chosen people, and you're all going to have to pay for what you've done. All right, and the Lord, he requires that which is past, man. Let's get that precept, because a lot of people like to say that, oh, that was in the past. Well, what does the Lord think about it, man? All right, this is Ecclesiastes 3:15. That which have been is now, and that which is to be have already been. And the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, requireth that which is past. Okay, so yeah, when the Lord comes back, he's not gonna say, "Oh, forget what happened in the past." The Lord's gonna, make you nations answer for what happened in the past, man. Because what happens in the past gives you an understanding of what's going on and what is to come now and also in the future. So how can people say that the past don't matter? Of course it matters. That's like watching a movie and thinking you're gonna watch the movie in the middle, or watch just the ending of a movie and think you know what's going on. The Lord doesn't work like that. All right. So I'm going to close with this last scripture. This is the book of, this is Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 16. And it says, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord. Because they called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. Okay, and Zion meaning to Zion, which is the Lord's monument, which is his people. Okay, the Lord is the one that's going to redeem us. He's going to give us the true reparations. All right. When you nations go into slavery, all of you nations, especially you Edomites, when the Lord comes back, you're going to be a prey. You're going to be in captivity. You're going to be devoured. You're going to be that spoiled, man. And everything we lost as Israelites, we're going to regain. We're going to get back. All right? Because these nations didn't have mercy on us, man. They didn't pity us when we went down, even when we're in our low condition now. So what do you think is going to happen when the Lord turns the tables, man? That's when true justice is going to happen, man. So I'm going to end it here. I'll say all praises be to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai Wahara Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles, a great millstone, and to the elect. Shalom.